I asked you to make a kind of a switch, because from generic stories from Heineken and Cisco, we go into a topic which is normally, in most companies and most enterprises, not an easy topic to discuss or to share with people. I'm going to talk about cancer. We are all facing, within families, within our work environment, people get sick and get seriously sick. And if you look at today's program, I made a word cloud, and it's all about productivity, it's about vitality, sustainability, etc. But people getting seriously sick is not a topic that is easily discussed. So the trend of having vitality as an important part of HR strategies is good, cannot be stopped, it is important. But let's face it, as an employer, you look at productivity of people and you try to get programs in place that make sure that productivity is on the level that you want it to be. And of course, it's more than having a gym or a sports event or a weekly getting together or having fruit on the table. There's two ways of looking at health, in our opinion. First of all, it's from the employer's side, and I've put on some names of companies that we work with. We do some work for big companies, and I'll get back to that later in my presentation. And you can look at health from an employee point of view. And especially that is what I'm focusing on. Because what happens if an employee is facing what they call life-changing circumstance? And to be very specific, what happens if an employee is diagnosed with cancer? How do we react within the company, within the department somebody is working in? What is the occupational physician doing? What is HR doing? Do we have an active role? Are there possibilities in all to be active as HR when you get to hear somebody has been diagnosed with cancer? Are you allowed to know it? Well, there's quite some restrictions at this moment where you cannot have any file on the physical situation of an employee. So it's a choice. Do we have a passive role? Do we leave it all up to our occupational physician or to our arbodienst? Or do we say, well, there is a place for us as an HR department, and yes, we can play an active role for somebody diagnosed with cancer, and we can see how we can make things work. And don't forget, and I'll come back to that later, for most people, work is medicine. So being diagnosed cancer and hearing the message, go home, take your time, and we'll see what the oncological treatment will do for you, might not be the very good solution for the employee. Finding solutions to be partly at work, keeping touch with the colleagues, keeping touch with the work, might have an important role on the psychosocial findings of employees. So, let's go into this. Cancer in Holland. Any idea about how many diagnoses on a yearly basis? Anybody? 108,000. That's a number. But also, if you bring it back, today 300 people are diagnosed with cancer. This very day. First line help medical assistance in Holland is super. We have our bigger hospitals, which are experts in cancer treatment. But in general, I say first line assistance is absolutely in place, is good. There's a patient world, and I'll come back to that a little later. What happens in the mind of the employee that is diagnosed with cancer. Now, if you look at cancer in enterprises, it's 1 in every 180 employees that on a yearly basis is diagnosed with cancer. So it does happen quite often. You can make the calculation yourself. If your company is about 1,000 people, then you know that there's at least 5 potential cancer patients on a yearly basis. So it is good to have programs in place there. Having cancer means that you're mostly partial, unable to work, and rehabilitation and before coming back to your job usually takes about 12 to 16 months. These are all figures, average figures. And of course, there's a cost element. People have to be replaced. It's about sports, right? So I took my bidon. Why not? So there's an emotional part on dealing with cancer patients, but there's also a very rational point. And I'll come back to that later. Now, what's going on inside the head of a cancer patient? It's these elements. It's about fear, doubt, uncertainty. How do I get things organized? First of all, with my health, do I need to look at Google all the time about all the kind of cancer treatments, all the kind of medicines that are in place? Should I go abroad for treatment? Should I stay here? And by the way, how is my communication with kids, family, and all kind of really day-to-day activities and things like, how about my work? Can I stay at work? How about my income? Will it stay the same after a couple of months not being there? How about my mortgage? Am I still going to be able to pay that? Can I find an insurance company who will cover my cost? These are all things that go on inside the head of a cancer patient, and that really, really is very intense. I can assure you that. At Tegenkracht, we have, since beginning our program, we have done programs for patients, over 2,000 participants. And there's some findings that I would like to share with you in this area. Physical preparation and active rehabilitation after oncological treatment will result in 2 things. First of all, it will result in a higher quality of life for the patient, but also, and that for an HR department is very important, it will result into a faster return to work. And so in the end, it will mean lower cost. Now, these are a few companies that we work for, and one specific case I will go into deeper, namely the help we give the Nationale Politie. Why prepare for oncological guidance? We say the better your physical status is when entering oncology, the better you come out. So stronger in is stronger out. It undoubtedly enhances the quality of life. Many surveys have been done in that area. It makes the patient less vulnerable during and after the cancer treatment. In the end, it will regain trust in one's body, because that's what you hear. Every cancer patient says, I've lost complete confidence in my body. How can I regain that? And last but not least, it's a faster reintegration into your social life, but also in your work environment. Now, this is a young audience. Anyone done half a marathon lately? Quarter. You know your time? 1:38. And I take it you're below 40. Oh, well, that's good. This shows the decrease of your capacity. So now you're 42. I can assure you that if you go on the right side here, your 142 will end up 2 hours 10 in 10 years' time. Because that's your normal physical decrease you have. I hope I don't disappoint you. You have to work harder to attain the same result. You have any idea what a cancer patient has to face with treatment of oncology, of all kinds of nasty things? This survey was done on case of cancer patients with lung cancer, testicle cancer, and breast cancer. And you see that this same aerobic capacity is decreasing by 30 to 50% during the treatment. And that's quite much. It means that a 4 months period of doing oncology equals 20 to 25 years getting older. So yes, it is a battle within your body and your mind. Now, what do we do with Tegenkracht as a program? We have, and I have not translated it, it's just called the Sportplan. It's a 6-step program where we do an intake, we do an interview, we see what the interests of the patients are, what is his background in the sport. We ask a medical sports physician to do a test to see what can be done with the body, because everybody is different, so it really is a one-to-one program that we do all the time. There's a sports activity planning being done by the sports medicine physician. Now we pick that up and find a place where people can work at. And normally this program takes us about 6 months of guidance. And after that period, we say, well, somebody is really capable of continuing that program and doing it by themselves. So after these 6 steps, you'll be wondering, is there cost involved? Yes, of course, there's cost involved, because we have this checkup by the sports medicine physician. We have the actual program done by oncological physiotherapists or personal trainers. And of course, we have our own hours that we spend on the program. How is this financed? Well, part of it will be financed by basic insurance and additional insurance that somebody has. And what we look at is, of course, can the employer play an active role in this by financing this program? And I'll come back to the return a little later. There's a lot of scientific evidence. When I started my work for Tegenkracht, and that's about 6 years ago, there was none of this. And you have to have the, let's say, the stories of those who have done the program to be enthusiastic. But since then, there has been a lot of scientific evidence on, let's say, the effectiveness of the program. And last year, a report was published about the cost effectiveness. So what it says is that a very low amount of money, there's a very good return on whatever investment you do in this case. And of course, if you want to be a good employer, and I'm sure Heineken, Cisco, and TNO are very good employers, then you have to have something in place like this. We'll get back to that later. Let me share some experiences that we have with the National Police. We had a 2-year pilot period, which was rather long, I must say. It was part of the Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Den Haag, Midden-Nederland, as they call it. So in this pilot, we had about 75 people doing the program. There are 2 focus points: stay at work and return to work. And of course, we had function-related programs, and you know, there are very many police-specific tasks, and being physical okay is one of the key things for policemen. Now, in the program, we have additional options apart from the physical part for the psychosocial and food dietitian kind of things. So that's kind of lifestyle elements, I would say. And this part, it's stay at work. So be fit, try to stay at work. That's one of the first topics. Then aftercare, the oncology has been done. There's focus on empowerment. What can you do yourself? How can you pick it up yourself? There's personal goal attainment in place. It's focused on rehab in specific skills and specifically targeted at return to work. The findings of this pilot were very positive. Combining oncological rehabilitation and return to work are a recommended way of working with cancer-diagnosed policemen and women. And in the end, it was a combination of the National Police together with insurance company CZ that make this program possible. How do we make it work? It's fairly simple. The initial role is very much focused and done by the occupational physician. He or she is the one stating this man or woman has to do or will do the tegenkracht program with these interventions. Since starting the program officially, we have done more than 150, 160 policemen. It's only during last year, which is quite an amount of people. What we do is keep contact with the patient, and this is one of the key elements of the program. People are not left alone, they don't have to find their own way to make things work. We keep touch with them. We keep touch with the sports, with the trainers, with the oncological physios, and we adjust programs when needed, when wished, when wanted. Of course, we give feedback to the occupational physician, and in most cases also to the case manager. And yes, we have to face all rules and regulations that are in place with the AVG and the GDPR. So we do take care of things there. Well, does it work? This study by the Antonie van Leeuwenhoek Ziekenhuis, the experts in Holland in this area. If you look here, red, here's usual care. And the other 2 programs are sports-related, activity-related programs. And they found out in this study that there is a significant difference in return to work and how long it takes. So the advantage of doing activity programs in return to work is scientifically proven, I would say. What do our customers, clients, our patients say? We do a survey at the end of the program, and in several areas, it's a 20-question questionnaire, which I summarized on this slide and on this slide. In the end, most people are very happy with the program. They rate us at a 8.6, which is rather high. And they say, yes, it is meaningful. Yes, it does have advantages to do this. For us, an email like this is why we do it. Matthijs. Matthijs is over there, by the way, my colleague. Sometimes I feel sorry for my trainer. Many tears and constant fear to ask too much of my body. But last Tuesday, there were tears of joy, and I managed to do things that I never expected to be able to do. There are moments of uncertainty, but my trust in my physio is high, so I try and I get better physically and emotionally. Not yet fully recovered, but I'm getting there, on my way. I'm very grateful for all your help and support. Well, these are, and for a cancer patient, small steps are steps. And if you get an email like this, we are happy. Then we know we're doing the right thing. Summarizing, there is scientific evidence. Activity-based programs, they work, they are proven, and they're proven cost-effective and efficient. They have enormous value for participants, and they have enormous value for the employees and employers. Yes, they are part of sustainability program, health programs, and in the end, for us, it's quality of life, a thing mentioned in the earlier presentations. So what my recommendation to you to finalize my presentation are 3 points. Look at possibilities to stay at work, I would ask you to do. Focus on possibilities and don't focus on barriers or restrictions. There's a lot of knowledge in Holland, there's a lot of skills in Holland about helping people and specific occupational physicians. They have the name of BACO's. Don't get this wrong. We have to face alcohol again. But the BACO is a bedrijfsarts consulent oncologie. And there are specific clinical work experts. They are around and they can be consultant, and they really, in difficult cases, they can be of great value. And what I would ask you and invite you to see if you can support rehab programs and make them part of your vitality and health programs. Thank you.